All right, good evening, everyone. Ventura Rodriguez, Chair, Interim Chair of the Lawrence Alliance for Education. Just before we begin, I just want to sincerely apologize to members of the public who have been on the Zoom link, I know since 6 o'clock, which was the notice time of the meeting. We had noticed an executive session that was to commence at 5:30 immediately prior to this meeting, which we did begin, and that session went long, as you all now know. So just my sincerest apologies. Your time is valuable. So just really sorry for starting the general session or the open meeting portion here late. So at this time, I would ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all very much. We have a lot of items here that we're going to get to. Just before we do, I do want to remind everyone that in accordance to the governor's executive order in March of 2020, we are holding this meeting via remote participation. All members of the Lawrence Alliance for Education and staff participating are doing so remotely. We are streaming this live currently as well for members of the public to access. Members of the public can also submit written comment through info@lawrenceallianceforeducation.org. Those emails are collected and forwarded to all LAE members and also become a part of the public record. So just as we jump in here, let's just jump in, actually. So we have a lot going on here. So Superintendent, I'll turn it over to you to kick us off.
Great, thank you so much. Our first agenda item this meeting is a review of our proposed fiscal year budget. So in a moment, I'm going to have Maciel go ahead and share final thoughts and commentary. But tonight, we're going to share with you final numbers of the proposed budget, reminders of what the approved and designed budget goals are, resources that we have shared with you that are going towards those efforts and priority. And finally, we will be seeking a vote so that we can then go to City Council and present our final budget. Whenever you're ready, Maciel.
Sure. So I just want to summarize for you tonight that we are asking you to approve a budget of approximately $212.4 million. The additional funding we received this year was allocated across the 4 district priorities that were created by you, which are student achievement, student support, grow a culturally responsible workforce, and deepen family and student partnerships. And so unless you have any additional questions from any of the materials that I have given for you today, we do seek a vote to approve the budget.
Great, thank you. And just as a reminder, sorry, Dan, just 1 second. Just as a reminder, we held 2 budget hearings, the sort of Wednesdays, the 2 Wednesdays preceding tonight, where we were able to ask a lot of questions, and the budget has been publicly available on the district website. And so just as a reminder of that, but I will go through and see if board members have questions. Dan, go ahead and start, and then.
Yeah, I was going to just make a motion to approve the budget for discussion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Can we have some, Marcel, can you just go through the process that you guys did with this budget from soup to nuts? So that folks who are chiming in at this point are understanding what you've done and what we've done?
Sure, absolutely. So the budget process actually started for us about the end of December with our first subcommittee meeting. We met to go over and agree and collaborate on the district priorities. And then we went ahead and started our internal process with meeting with the schools, updating my budget file, going through all of the school goals, And then subsequently being able to finalize the budget and meet with all of you to review and go through everything else. So if there's anything you'd like me to elaborate on a little bit further throughout the process, I am happy to.
Well, yeah, I was hoping that you weren't going to be brief, but I'm glad you were brief. Can you tell me
Sure.
the difference between the net school spending because I don't have it in front of me, and I apologize for that. From last year to this year, how much more it's adding to the city side?
Sure. So the city, you want to know the city contribution or how much it's adding to our general budget?
City contribution.
Sure. So the city contribution went up by approximately $500,000. And our budget overall went up by about $11 million.
Not bad. 500,000 for 11 million. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let me continue with Jess. If you have any other questions or comments for staff.
No, I feel like we had good discussions at the budget hearings about this. I have no further questions.
Great, thanks, Noemi.
Same thing with me. My questions were answered during the hearings. Thank you.
Great, Ashley?
One question, how does this budget directly help all of the students?
Sure. So Cynthia, do you want me to take a stab at it or do you want to go?
Yeah.
So I want to say that the thing I'm most proud of with this budget is that it does help the students. It helps us be able to support the students a lot better in a lot more supports around social emotional learning, around curriculum support. There was a significant add in those areas. And then I don't know, Cynthia, if you want to elaborate on other areas that would directly impact the students other than.
I think she just froze.
Oh.
Sorry, you were coming in and out, Maciel.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry.
Yep, that's right. That's exactly right, Maciel. So Ashley, I'm also really proud of it because this board has agreed to prioritize student services.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result of their commitment to supporting students, we've added additional staff to do that, both in the social emotional, and principals across the district have strongly advocated for additional resources that are also academic. And then also we're going to continue to think about all of the devices and tools that you've currently used throughout this pandemic. Those will remain and those are being supported by this budget. And the digital resources also that you've been accustomed to are also in this budget. So those are the direct impact that it will have on students.
Great, Ashley, any follow-ups or anything? All right, Pat?
Yes, thank you, Ventura. I've had all my questions answered. I had the opportunity to participate in many of the school meetings, and I have to commend the superintendent and her staff for the whole process, the whole budget process. The schools were able to come in and state their goals and state their needs, and my favorite part, come up with a wish list. And I think it was very, very well done. And I think it's a budget that is that we should be very proud of and is really supporting the needs of our kids. So I want to thank you, Superintendent, and your staff for a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julia.
Sorry, guys. I'm all set. I think, like Jess says, we asked all the questions, and I am pretty sure that the final budget that we're being presented with has no alterations on it that we should be concerned about. So I have no questions.
Great, thank you. And I do just want to, my only comment, maybe just to underscore Julia, what she just said, and just to make sure, I mean, I don't think it's, uncommon or unheard of that like tweaks would have to be made, after the budget hearings and things, but is there anything different in the version here of the budget that we're discussing and voting on tonight that is different, from the one we discussed the last budget hearing?
No, Ventura, no, nothing changed. The only update I made in the budget book was the one request you made in terms of the comparison. Yep.
Got it.
So other than that change, there was no other changes made to the budget.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Dan, I know you spoke first, but give you another chance if there's anything else you wanted to add. Are you good?
No, I'm good. I got my questions answered through the rest of the group, and I feel really good about this.
Great. Okay. So the motion, was moved and seconded. Discussion is not over, so I will do a roll call vote to approve the FY22 budget as presented. So Jess,
Yes.
Noemi,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Julia,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So the budget is approved. Thank you, and good luck on the next steps. And obviously, let us know if there's anything you need from us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next agenda item is we're going to share with you reopening. So in a moment, Mary is going to share her screen and give you all what's been happening in the past 2 weeks.
Happy to do that. Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to be here tonight and to give you the next installment in the updates related to our reopening. Thank you very much for indulging and giving us a few minutes to be able to do that. So here we are. I'm going to start just with a little review. You recall that it was only on March 5th, so not more than a month ago, that the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education voted to provide the commissioner with the authority to shift away from remote and hybrid and to begin the full return to in-person learning. And that was to begin on April 5th. So very happy to say that we're almost 2 weeks in to our return. And you can see here our elementary school children in grades pre-K through 5 returned on April 5th. Students with disabilities who are assigned to our district-wide programs for all grades, pre-K through all the way past grade 12, postgraduates who are 18 to 22 years old, returned. And our next wave of students that we're anticipating right after the school vacation will come in on Wednesday, April 28th. And those are our middle schoolers in grades 6 through 8 and some specialized high school programs in grades 9 through 12 in LAE, International High School, the High School Learning Center, and RISE will start on that date. And then we're anxious to give our high schoolers some time back in the building, although it may be short, but we have plans to start grade 9 on May 3rd and grades 10 through 12 on May 4th. Just another reminder at the bottom of this slide that the remote hours and the in-person hours remain the same for this interim to get us through the end of the school year. And you can see there's a 2.5-hour day, either morning or afternoon for pre-K and kindergarten. And we have an 8 to 1:30 for grades 1 through 8 and a 8:30 to 2:30 for grades 9 through 12. So what does it look like? You remember that a component of this plan is that the parents have a choice for their children to continue remotely through the end of the school year. And we're very committed to ensuring that the students who are going to remain remote will have a robust learning model. They will have a very engaging learning model, and they'll be able to interact with peers that are both in person and remote. So we conducted the survey, told you about that last time, to all of our parents. We had great survey response. And for those parents who didn't respond, we were able to get in touch with them in another way so that we knew, what their decision was going to be about returning. So how has it shaken out? So here we are looking at more than half of all of the LPS students either have returned or are expected to return as a result of that survey in person. So you can see how it's split there, just about 50-50 in person and remote, which is what we had sort of predicted. And in some cases it's a 60-40 and it's a little bit shifted. And I'll give you a look at some more specific data by grade level I thought you might be interested in. So as of the end of the first week, April 9th, this is our pre-K through grade 5 return in person. So this is how it has shaken out across the district. Pre-K, our numbers are down in preschool this year, as you can see, our total numbers. for obvious reasons. With what's happened, some of the families have elected to keep their children in daycare for this year, and we'll start them next year. But even so, 50% of our pre-K kids are back in person, 51% in kindergarten, shoots up to 59% in first and second grade, right about the same, 57%. And right now, fourth grade is our highest return at 60% of the kids back in person. And then fifth grade, very close there at 54%. So I thought you might be interested to see how that looks. And then we can also give you numbers based on some of the students in the other grades who have returned because they're part of those district-wide special education programs, and also the projected returning students based on the surveys and what's happened. So you can see that we're right there with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And even 9th grade, we're expecting over 50% of our students back in person. And then 10th, 11th, 12th grade, that's where, it shifts. The balance shifts a little bit with more kids who are a little older, making some of their own decisions and choosing maybe with their parents' agreement to remain remote. We may be able to entice a few more once we get a little closer to that May timeline. We're hoping so. And the last little group over there are our post-grads, our 18 to 22-year-olds, where we have 63% of them back already in person. So that's really good and a great number there. We're really happy about that. So let's just look at students with disabilities and English learners. We have a more than half number of these two subgroups have returned in person. And this is really good news because, our high need students are the students that we're most concerned about in terms of having access to in-person instruction, teaching and learning. Their modalities call for somewhat more than they can receive remotely. And so it's really good news that we have 57% of our kids in person, and then English learners 54%. So thought you'd be interested to see how that's looking as well. And then I just wanted to just update you with some of the reminders and some of the protocols that we've shared with staff and principals so that we can continue our commitment to health and safety protocols. Every staff member is completing a daily attestation form before they enter a building. And so that means that they're attesting to their own health. And it's very easy. Most people are doing it on their cell phone. We do have paper copies if they need that for any staff who needs it. But it follows through a set of questions that help staff analyze their own health for that day before they enter a building. And so this is something that we're all getting used to, and it's going really well. We've asked staff members to only report to one school each day unless they're authorized for a particular reason from a supervisor. And we're really trying to limit the number of staff that are rotating between schools, between classrooms even, so that we can keep kids as stationary as possible and keep the numbers of staff members who are engaging with those kids as limited as we can. And helps with contract tracing if we need to do that. All of our staff members are signing in and out of each building, indicating the time that they've spent in that building so we can go back and check those hours if we need to. And we take attendance at the start of every period, but especially during the homeroom period so that we know exactly who is in school, who is remote. Attendance is taken for remote students as well as in-person students. And we've asked teachers to maintain a seating chart in each of their classes. This has become really important because if there is a need to do some tracing and we need to know the proximity of where kids are, where they're seated in the classroom, it's really helpful to our nursing department as they're doing that. We've asked that students don't gather in close proximity. It's tough for the little ones, but teachers are doing a great job, moving desks in sort of a circle-like setting because we're asking that they don't, all come and sit, shoulder to shoulder on the rug. We're trying to keep that space, maintaining 3-foot distance when they're masked and a 6-foot distance during their extended mask breaks, such as at lunch and at recess. We're trying to keep that 6-foot distance. And we've asked our staff members to maintain wearing their masks when they're in the presence of others. Even if they're more than 6 feet away, we'd like them to, be in that habit of wearing their masks, just to be, continue this safety protocol. And during the lunch and mass breaks for our staff, we're asking them not to gather or socialize in groups. So we're really not using our staff lunchrooms for any lingering or long periods of time if a 6-foot distance cannot be maintained, even if they're outdoors. So it's really important that we follow all of these protocols. A few pictures that I didn't share with you yet that I thought you'd like to see. It's good to be back in school. That's very, very true. You know, superintendent can share with you stories of her visits and how delighted the kids are. Even with the masks on, you can see the smiles in the eyes of these students as you see how, you know, they're smiling with their eyes and they're so happy to be back in school. And we've heard such wonderful things from educators in terms of how great it is to be back with students. And they're all doing wonderful things. We owe them a debt of gratitude to all of our staff making this work and all of our parents who are working with us very, very closely. You know, it's going very well, and we're looking forward to get everybody back on track. Thanks very much. Take any questions that you may have. Appreciate the time.
Thanks so much, Mary. I'm going to go in reverse alphabetical order. So Julia.
Thanks, Mary, for that presentation. It seems like you're taking the necessary precautions for everybody to feel safe when they come back, both the students, the teachers, and the parents. I just hope that people will, you know, listen to this presentation and feel safe coming back, because we need to go back to some type of normalcy. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to shout out Nancy Walsh, our Director of Health Services. She and her team of nurses in all of our schools have just done an outstanding job of being responsive, you know, to staff who may have questions, parents who have questions, even after the school day ends. They have just been, you know, really great, taking all those questions and doing all of that. So it's a team effort and everybody is doing their part. So thank you for noticing.
Great. Dan?
I just think that this shows the amount of effort that's being done to make every effort to keep everybody safe and to you know, give people options in this crazy time. And I think it underscores again the need to find a way to do. And again, my advocacy for doing more around compensation is not because the district is not doing enough. It is that I just think it calls for more. And I just, you know, I can't even imagine Mary's job in trying to corral these cats and making sure it all works down. And then the you know, the principal's jobs of making sure that you have enough bodies to execute the plan. And then, you know, the teachers and the support staff, you know, in every part of their working, every part of their piece of the working motion of this enormous undertaking. We have never done this. And to say that this is an easy thing is I think, to miss the point and to not recognize the immense effort further more than it's already is being recognized. I think it's a lost opportunity, but it's just, I hope that both parents and staff look at this as an effort to get kids back to learning in an environment for a district that we couldn't spare an hour of learning time before, never mind in this environment. So congratulations on the work you're doing, and then for everyone else who is critical of the plan, I would just say, you know, we can't have the perfect be the enemy of the good, and we got to get back to the classroom. And there's going to be mistakes along the way, and no one's doing it on purpose. This is all of us trying our best in the most difficult situation. So thank you for that.
Thank you for the support.
Thanks, Pat.
Yes, Mary, thank you for that presentation. It was very clear. And to echo what Dan said, it's wonderful to see the kids back. And I'd like to thank you and your team and the superintendent and the teachers that are putting their heart and soul into making this work every single day. So thank you.
It really is a team effort, everybody, you know, facilities, food service, everybody, HR, you know, they're fielding so many phone calls, and it's just everybody really just joining together to make it happen. So thanks so much.
Great. Ashley?
I was just wondering, is there any concern in how low the prediction is for the 10th through 12th grade compared to all the other grades that are like clearly way higher?
Sure, right? I mean, obviously, as the students become older and they're influencing some of the decision, with their parents' help, they may want to stay remote. But we're hoping that, students like you and your peers can be those cheerleaders and go out and encourage your peers to come back when it's time, coming right up in May, and get a few weeks in. Just to finish the year strong. We'd like to see a few more. So I appreciate your comment, and I hope you'll help us to do that.
Great, Noemi.
I want to thank everybody for all the work that you have done to ensure that the kids are back and safe, and that the teachers have the right tools that they need in order to do this work. It is good to see a little bit of normalcy. I think that the kids will appreciate that, and I'm very grateful for everything that you have done, and showing the graph, the difference. That was a very nice way to present the data. So thank you.
Thank you, Noemi.
Great, Jess.
Yeah, I'll echo my colleagues' thanks. And, I think it is definitely clear that the district has done a lot of work to make the facilities safe and to put in proper protocols in place and to, be able to handle any situations that arise. And I know that that's taken a tremendous amount of logistics and hard work, and that's wonderful. I do continue to be concerned about what the experience is like for both teachers and students of having simultaneous students in the, like half the students in the classroom and half of them, at home. And I know that many teachers are basically kind of having the students in the classroom be on Zoom at the same time, so that, they can sort of streamline the interaction with students, and they're not neglecting either group. But I'm wondering if you have some feedback from either teachers or students or both on how that is going, what the challenges have been with that, how we're kind of adjusting and adapting to that, so that, it is as little stressful as possible for the teachers and for the students, and the learning is maximized.
Yeah, I can
And so,
share.
oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
Yeah, sorry, Mary, I can share, since I've been particularly interested in that myself, Jess. And so there are a few things that I've noted, and then in my conversations with teachers and kids. I've seen a variety of ways where teachers have transformed their classrooms. The one that's really popular is where teachers have two screens, one where is directed to two monitors, one directed to them and one directed to students, so that they can also see or projected on a whiteboard. Attached to that, teachers have a streaming camera, which I don't even know how this magically works, but you can actually see from, it's almost like an ocular vision thing where, you can see the room and the students. So the example today was the teacher she was propped in sort of a cart-like in a high chair, and that the camera is on her, and then she's got another camera so the other students can. And simultaneously, she was asking the question, she paused, and I've seen this multiple times where the teacher will say students online, students in present, students online. So she goes back and forth, students online. Okay, the students online, what do you think about that? The students in class, what do you think about that? And then they have the conversations. So you're correct to say that students do bring their devices, because is there access also to their other peers who are home? And that's the reason they're still on their devices, because otherwise they don't have access, right into just having the conversations also with their peers. And then they go into breakout rooms in the rooms that we're all familiar with right now. When I have spoken to teachers who, some of them have been doing this, since we reopened with high needs, and some of them are just 2 weeks old in practicing this skill. So they're relying quite heavily on the support of their peers to help them organize themselves. And I can tell you that it's quite remarkable what they're doing. It does not escape us that it is a skill that no one has practiced before, and they are doing it with such grace and expertise that you would not even know that this is their first go at it. I wish you could come, and I hope that you will accept the invitation, you all separately, with all the protocols in place, and just watch it for yourselves. And so the student experience, what I have seen, at least for the students that are in the classroom, remains the same. When I interview students and I say, tell me what it's like to be back, they like to be with their teacher. That's the first response. The second most common response is, it's quiet. It's quiet. So the space dedicated just for learning back in the classroom is the second most popular question that responds to that question. And the first one is they just want to be with their teacher face to face. And I haven't interviewed the kids on the other end yet, so I'm not there yet with sort of making my rounds in there, but that's going to be my next interview of rounds of the students who are on the remote end and their current experience, where now they have most of their peers out of the Zoom and now into the classroom.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I guess I just want to give a shout out to both the teachers and the students around this, right? I think it's taken a tremendous amount of work and flexibility and adaptation to be able to do this. And, you know, I'll echo Dan's point. I know we've discussed this. I know there are many places that we want to spend our money. You know, I continue to think that teachers should be the highest paid workers in our society, but that's not the social value that we seem to have in this country. But I do think there should be, you know, some more additional compensation for the tremendous work that they're doing. And, you know, hats off to the students. Like, I just think the kids have been so resilient and so flexible, and, you know, it's really been impressive how they've come through this year. So yeah. The other thing that I just wanted to ask about is, you know, I know that we have very defined procedures in place for if there is, you know, if someone does contract COVID. Are you going to be updating us regularly on what that like count looks like? You know, I know that there's a lot of different information out there, right? Like, you can read newspaper articles about, you know, oh, in such and such a place, bringing students back in person did result in an increase in community spread. In other cases, it hasn't. And it's hard to parse and sift through all of that. But I think it would be important for us to know, you know, like, what's happening with that, and is there you know, is there a, you know, how are we handling that, and, you know, is it changing at all, or is it, you know, what's happening, I guess.
Sure. So we had not intended to do regular communication about COVID cases with you all, but we're happy to do the monthly report that we share with Jesse, if you like. With respect to what's currently happening, we do have positive cases and close contacts every week. And so that's not unusual. That's been happening throughout the pandemic. Communication is particular to the school buildings and classrooms and schools that are affected right now.
Sorry, I've just been advocated for ice cream, so I lost my train of thought for one moment. Damn. Come back to me, Ventura. I do have one more question.
No problem. I think
I just want to be on the record for Eli to get ice cream.
Yeah, I know. Is there a second? Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, I just want to add my thanks again to all of our staff. I mean, to our students and our families, you know, who have had to be also just very flexible. And as I think about like families, students, teachers, like the number of transitions that, you know, we've all gone through this year, you know, I tend to think this is a good one to be able to bring back, you know, in person, but regardless, it's another transition. So this has been a year like no other, and just, you know, every chance I get, just continue to thank again all of our staff, our students, our families, and you know, I know next week is spring break, you know, so I think this gives us a good chance, you know, to have a couple of weeks and I know we're getting ready for other students returning, and so it's not even like, you know, what's spring break typically staff can just all take off and, you know, go to the beach somewhere. I mean, I know that you all are still working, continue to work very hard every single day until we get every student back, you know, to our school. So just a sincere thank you. I think we're all ready to move on, except Jess, I do want to come back to you in case you had, you know,
Yeah,
and
I'm
please
sorry.
report back on the ice cream. Did he get it or not, please?
Yeah, he and Tuki are going to the truck right now. I so this is more of a public service announcement than a question, but I just want to say, you know, to any parent who is out there listening right now, please get vaccinated, and please spread the word to other parents, and do that. That is the way that we are going to make ourselves as a community safe. And you know, for every one person who might have an adverse vaccine reaction, there's 125 people who are getting hospitalized for COVID. So let's have perspective on, you know, what this really means for our community, and let's all get vaccinated and make this as safe as possible. Sorry, I had to do that.
Ventura, I have just one more question.
Please, Pat.
Mary, and I don't know if I've asked this before, as you're describing the classroom and the teachers working both remotely and in person, is it possible to make sure that there's two people in each classroom to, you know, a support person to help the teacher along?
Absolutely, Pat. Thanks for bringing that up. In most cases, and this is a school by school, principal by principal decision, but in most cases, especially since we're not moving the kids around, they've been able to use their support staff. So obviously paraprofessionals, you know, specialists, interventionist teachers, special education teachers, ESL teachers, so that they can maintain two adults in every classroom. It's making it a lot easier. One of the things that we did, and this is all very new, but there's research already about what does it mean to do simultaneous instruction. They're calling it also in the research concurrent instruction. And so Kin Foley, our L director, put together a nice set of resources, and we gave that to all the principals to share with teachers so that they had go-tos in terms of, you know, how they should be doing that. And one of the strong recommendations is to have two people in the classroom if you're doing simultaneous instruction. It only makes sense. And it's a much more valuable experience for the students at home if they can have access to the actual classroom. And so that they're learning right alongside the peers that are in the classroom. It's more beneficial than just keeping them separate and keeping them just remote. So we've encouraged that. We haven't mandated it, obviously, but we've encouraged it, and with the resources. And as the superintendent has seen in her visits, it's just the teachers are extraordinary, and they're doing a great job to do this with the new technology, the webcams, you know, the headsets. We have LCD projectors, so everything can be projected on the whiteboard, you know, large enough for everybody to see. And they're just extraordinary individuals doing a great job, and we're learning a lot about it.
Yeah, I agree. They are exceptional. The teachers are doing exceptional work. The challenge is not so much an issue of resources in the form of funds, but human capital, Pat. So when possible, we do, especially for our youngest learners, we do have two adults supporting the simultaneous teaching. The challenge is there aren't enough other teachers that are qualified or even substitute for us to hire to have that many more support personnel in the buildings right now.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sorry, Jess, was there one more thing, or I was going to move us on?
Just to piggyback on that, which is why it's so important for us to grow our own and put resources into that this year, which I know is part of the superintendent's goals. So we need to do more of that.
Great, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mary, for that
Thank you,
portion.
guys.
Superintendent, go ahead. Teaching and learning highlights are next.
Yeah, wonderful. So in a moment, Dave will be sharing his screen and sharing a video, a short video with you all.
It's been a big pleasure to be back inside of the school building, and I'm learning a lot from how I was online.
Kids back in school has been a joy. It's been our best week in the past year. I don't think we realized how great, I mean, we knew it was going to be great and we were excited about it, but it has exceeded all expectations. Our kids are beautiful, they're happy, our teachers are doing amazing things, our teachers are happy. When we see parents dropping kids off, they're happy. It's really been a joy. It's been an absolute pleasure, and this first week back could not have gone better.
For me, it's awesome because he was not really getting anything online, and being back and his teacher helping him being back is just great for me, and he's learning way more now. Right, JD? Nice.
Sí, estamos aquí en Enlace y estamos felices para estar presente en la escuela con los alumnos.
En mi opinión es que aquí en la escuela es mejor porque en la casa uno no se concentra bien.
We're so excited to be back, and it's so nice to have a classroom full of students again. Second graders, how many of you are excited to be back?
I'm excited! I'm excited to see my friends and my teachers.
We're so excited to be back and see our students being in classrooms, watching them learn. It's just been such a great week for us, and everyone's smiling and happy, and it's making me feel really inspired about what we can do from now until the end of the year. So we're so excited to have our kiddos back.
Thank you, Dave. Next, we want to share with you programming that we're planning for this summer. So Chris Heath in a moment is going to be sharing that.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to come today. I will just say thank you for letting me follow that amazing video with those incredible kids and teachers. So I'm going to follow that, right? I do have an opportunity to share with you our plans. There are plans for the summer program, and I'll just get that set up for one sec. So we're obviously working on pulling our plans together for the summer, and we are really excited, and the plans are underway. Our goal is, of course, to provide an enriching and supportive summer program for our students. this summer we're actually going to be hosting 4 distinct summer programs across 13 sites across the city. So we're really excited. It's an ambitious goal, but we're really excited to do that. The first one, which we call Level Up, is primarily for our K-8 students. The program is going to run at each school and will directly support a target of 30%. We've asked our schools to identify a 30% group that we can then have direct support and target for. Myself and Doug Miller are going to be managing that program for the summer again. The high school program will work on its classic credit recovery, but they are also having some really deep conversations around how they can explore doing some expanded learning there as well. They're going to be approaching a pre-AP program as well as some elective studies, and that would be for the 9th to 12th group. And there's a lot of great conversations that are happening there. They're doing a lot of planning still, working with their staff around how they can best support the varied needs of their students. We have an extended school year ESY program that Dr. Toomey is spearheading, and that will be happening across the district. This program helps students on the moderate to severe disabilities areas, and they run that runs K-12. So there's a lot of supports that go into that, and all of it is in direct support of their individual IEPs. So those programs are very individualized and are very much thought of as in terms of the work that goes into support that work. We have a newcomer program, our L program, which is going to be working with Kinnan Foley again. She's developed with Sarah Trotsky an amazing program that's going to help support our newcomers and our SLIFE Ls, and that runs K through 12 with a direct support model as well. And so those are the 4 programs that are going to be running across the district. Some just nuts and bolts things that we're going to present is just what the school hours might be. And they're going to be 7:30 to 1 o'clock for our staff, and our students will be there from 8 to 1, running through those 5 weeks from June 28th through July 29th. This year, our staff support model, we've changed over the last few years and added some really nice extra features to it. But it's always made up of site facilitators, teachers themselves, made up of specialists, adjustment counselors, related service providers. Last year, during our remote year, we did add adjustment counselors to each site, and the work that they did and the support that they provided was so important that we felt it is important again to invest in that. So each location will also have a direct adjustment counselor service, which is a very value add for our families and for our students. Nurses, again, I have to tip my hat to what Mary shared earlier about our district nursing staff. They've done phenomenal work. They'll work closely with us as well to make sure that all of our programs are safe and secure and moving forward with the best practices. But each site will also have either an RN or an LPN directly on site. We also support parent liaisons. That's an intricate part of our support, and that is, we place high value in that position as well. Those positions are available throughout the district in all of our locations. And in addition, we have paraprofessionals that do work, direct support work for our ESY program, as well as our newcomer program. The new elements that I just wanted to make sure that we just acknowledge that the adjustment counselors are going to be on site helping with lots of needs throughout the day. They're available to families as wraparound supports and helping to align whatever supports they might need as well as the school might need. And then this year, in addition, I'll talk a little bit more about it later, we're adding a request for specialist teachers. So that would be our unified arts, PE, music. We'd like them to also have an important role within their summer program. So we're hoping that having the specialist teachers weaving their practice in throughout the school day will help in improve engagement. And that's really one of the major goals, and a focus for this year will be around engagement. All of our data has pointed to that being our #1 challenge all through remote, and it's continuing to be that just because we want to make sure that our students are as most engaged as possible. So there's some other ways that we're going to be helping our students. I think an important thing, and it's something that we've been doing a lot of talk about, and not just to focus on deficit or this learning loss. And that's what's been spoken of a lot. What we really want to be mindful about is what is missing and what else is really needed for our students. And that's purposeful and very thoughtful throughout what we're doing. We've already begun sourcing many high quality hands-on learning elements and that we can infuse into our summer programs. The hopes there again is to increase engagement, have students want to be there, have students really be eager to be back to school during the summer. Dr. Paris also mentioned bring on some fun. So I think that that's really our hope, is to really weave that in. Yes, we want it to be about meeting a need that the students have, but we really need to be mindful about what are the other needs that they have. And that's to have an engaging community with them, to have engaging activities involved in their day. And in order to do that, we've also added a layer this year of working very proactively with partnerships and our enrichment providers. So we've been having meetings over the last month or so with a lot of our partners, and they're all on board as well. And they understand where we are and where our kids are and really where our families are. And I think that this is an incredible opportunity for us to join hands and really work together to help support the students. So there's work that's going on to deepen the relationships and deepen the infusion throughout the students' experience for summer programs, working with the Boys and Girls Club, Project Adventure, the community group, Groundwork Lawrence. The list is so long, I don't want to forget anybody, but Cynthia put out the call and everybody's answered. It's really something. And so I'm excited that this is going to be another way that we can fold in, again, what our students need into the summer program. And then finally, just one more tip was just to having our specialists. The program model for the specialists is to be weaving throughout the day so that students will have an opportunity to have a special throughout their time, which hasn't typically happened during our summer program. So we really feel like that's going to help us meet that goal of bringing them in, bringing on some fun, and having the summer's program be a good experience. So this was pretty brief today because it's kind of a bird's eye view of a systemic program, but I'm sure there's some questions and I'd certainly love to answer those.
Great, thanks so much. Go ahead and start top of the alphabet, Jess.
Just a comment. This is great. I'm really glad that we're offering a very robust and enriching summer program. I think that will be important, and I also think that will be super helpful to a lot of families. Completely, I'm very glad about the more asset-based focus instead of the usual kind of deficit language around all of this. I think partly what our kids are going to take out of this is what we as adults model for them to take out of it. So, continuing to emphasize that part, I think would be great. I just also want to say that I'm really happy to see this good use of partnerships and enrichment by some of our really awesome local nonprofit partners. I think we have a lot of great resources in this community in that way. And all of these groups have been, I know, super engaged in various aspects of this adventure with the schools during the whole year and have some really, really robust, substantive, engaging programming to offer. So I'm really glad to see that, and I hope it, it continues and strengthens even more beyond the summer, because I think that's an important part of like having true community schools here. So just wanted to say that. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Noemi.
I don't have any comments at this point. I agree that it's great to see that we have collaborations with regional partners. So that's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ashley?
I just wanted to know, is this going to be an in-person thing or is it going to be online? And if it's in person, is it going to be following the same safety guidelines as we are following right now with schools?
That's an excellent question. I don't know, Cynthia, do you want to take that one? But I can take it.
Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Okay, great question. And yes, it is going to obviously be following those safety guidelines. We've learned a lot along the way, and we're going to continue to have to make adjustments and accommodations to meet those needs, Ashley. But yes, I feel like this is seen as an opportunity for us to continue to make improvements in those areas, and look forward to it. So the other part of your question, though, was about it being on site. And I think that that's an important factor to identify, is that this program will be an on-site program. There are a lot of supports that are available for students that are working remotely, but this particular model is an on-site model. I will just put in one piece, though, that there are specialty programs and supports that are in place in our district, but that we're very thankful for. They have more flexibility with how they're going to be supporting their students and what's best for those students. So as we know, every student gets what they need, and what they might need might look different than this summer program, so they'll get what they need out of this. But that's a great question, Ashley.
Great, thanks, Pat.
Yes, I love the concept of the program being bring on some fun. I think that's an awesome thing to do for our kids. Yeah. I also like the idea of an adjustment counselor at each school, because as the kids come in for the summer program, we might be able to identify some children that are really having a hard time adjusting, and that focus for the summer with the adjustment council will only have them better prepared for September when we come back to school. So I think that's an awesome idea, and I want to thank you for that.
Absolutely. I just want to also point out that there's a lot of thought partners that's going into this summer program. There's been a lot of people that have provided a lot of work already, a lot of collaboration, and I feel like everyone that's involved really has the right lens, and that's to help our kids the best we can. So,
thanks, Dan.
I'm all set for now too. Thanks.
Great, Julia.
Yeah, it sounds like a great program to have put out. You have thought it out and discussed it at length with some of the other partners. I'm happy to see that that we have some excitement for the summer for these kids. I just have a couple of questions on this. The how did you reach for the what is it, level up K through 8? How did you come up with the 30%?
So each school does a lot of work around identifying and supporting their students. So each school is tasked at identifying who they feel could benefit. And typically that's revolved around data, right? But Dr. Paris has made it very important as well that we really want to make sure that we are also pulling in a need that may not show up on paper. And that's a student that could need to be part of a community due to some social emotional needs that they might have, that being a part of a community like our summer program can help. So it's not excluding based off data. So that's something I think that's important. I don't know if that answers your question, Julia.
It does. So it's based on need, what you're seeing right now.
Correct.
What about if you exceed that 30%?
I hope everyone. I hope that everyone that's listening right now is going to help us meet that goal. I hope we crush it. I want to, and it's going to take our village to really encourage our students and our families to participate. If they get an invitation, let's go. We want you. We want those numbers high. We've built in some cushions, so if we are able to exceed our goals, we're certainly going to have them come, and we'll figure out a way. But I don't want to worry about us not having room for something, because we'll make it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. I just want to make sure that we do have wiggle room for people if you exceed those.
Well, we do. I just have to be mindful of too where we still are, and everything will be done safely. And so we will have protocols that we'll have to follow in terms of all of those factors, right? But I feel confident that working as a village, we can do that.
Excellent. And one last question, and I this might be for you, Chris, or it might be for the superintendent or anybody that is willing to answer it. And I think we've brought this up in the past, Cynthia. We've discussed about the possibility of the school partnering with the city and to help students that are trying to get employment. Particularly during these summer months. Has this been taken into consideration?
It has, and in fact, we do have a program for that. So the next time we meet, Julia, we're going to have the high school team back. Remember, they had a pretty long presentation, and we said we'd bring them back. They're going to come back and talk about that program in partnership with the city and other partners as well. Yes, we will share that with you.
Okay, excellent. I just want to make sure that we cover that base as well. Thank you. I'm all set, Ventura.
Great, thank you. And I guess for me also, just again, offer just this is critically important. I think any summer, as you know, time is critically important as we think about just opportunities for students and just research around summer learning loss. And, so I think any summer it's critical. And in this summer in particular, I think you all are right on, in trying to offer as many programs as possible. And I really do also just underscore this notion of trying to be more asset-based, in the construction of not only these programs, but I think in the acceleration, the enrichment, the opportunities, that kids have. I really appreciate that point. One thing I just want to ask, and maybe just for clarity, for the public's sake, is that if you are not currently, and apologies if you already said this, but if you're not currently in person, might you still be invited to this summer program to participate in person? Basically, as a family, can you change your mind if you're not in person now, but in the summer you do want to go in person in one of these programs? Just how does that work?
Yeah, I can jump in here. Yeah, absolutely. So in the summer is sort of a resetting and a re-invitation for in-person summer learning. And so that resets this new time that we have of like, if you're currently remote. I actually thought you were going to ask if you're remote and you still need to and still remain remote, are there opportunities?
That's my second question, okay. But yeah.
All right. Because the answer to that is we also will have programming for those students and families who continue to choose to stay remote. And that looks a little bit different. And so we'll come back to you all with that as well. But I'll give you a little hint here. We are going to be doing tutoring. Tutoring is the preferred model for those students, because we do believe that the best approach is face-to-face in the classroom. And so when that's not possible for choices that families and students have made, we want to make sure that it's very small. So 2 kids, 3 kids with 1 teacher online, or 1-to-1 with a tutor, a much more intense and robust online experience than the whole class or even the smaller group of 8 kids. We're not going to design that way. It'll be much, much smaller.
Thank you, and thank you for anticipating, that question. So, okay, great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the presentation. And again, Superintendent, I'll say, go ahead and carry us forward to the next item.
Yeah, the last thing I wanted to say about this, I don't want to, I think Chris has already done that, is this comment about our partners and our arts coordinators and specialists. We made the call and immediately they all said, of course, we're going to, combine forces here and partner in the efforts of continuing to support our students and families and teachers. And we're so grateful for their partnership. They're excellent partners. They have been throughout this pandemic. And here's another fine example of their commitment to continuing to support us. So I want to thank them publicly for that. And our arts coordinator, the same. We said, we need you. We need some joy this summer for our students. We need art and music and movement. And they said, absolutely, we're there. And so I also want to thank them for them not hesitating to say, yes, we will be there. Okay, I think I want to carry on with our agenda, and the next agenda item here is we have some donations for and a vote that we're seeking. So let me call those up. The first one is a donation from the Whirlpool company. You guys know Whirlpool. We know them as laundry. At least I know them that way mostly. And so this donation is to the Arlington Elementary School. It's a check for $10,000 to be sent for the School for Whirlpool brand. And the program is the Whirlpool Care Counts. The mission of this program is for students to have access to clean clothes throughout their school experience. So in sum, they are going to be making this donation with the understanding that students and families at the Arlington will always have access to clean clothes. So we ask that you accept this donation on behalf of the Arlington, and those documents are in your Google Drive.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, let's take them separately. Go ahead. I'll entertain a motion to accept the donation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote. Jess?
Yep.
Noemi?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Julia?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so it's approved.
Thank you. The next donation comes from a private family, and it reads as follows. Dear Dr. Reynoso, please accept the enclosed donation from my sister, Mary Kaufman, estate to the Jean and Philip Kaufman Scholarship Fund. Phil was Mary's late husband, and Jean, her mother-in-law, I believe were both graduate of the Lawrence High School. So this donation comes from a private family, specifically to the seniors, and specifically to one of our principals. So we ask this evening for your also vote on this.
So moved. Move to accept.
Great. Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call vote. Jess?
Yes.
Noemi?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, Julia?
Yes. Just a thank you on behalf of the LAE board.
And the chair votes yes. Great, thank you. So that is also approved.
Thank you. No further agenda items from me.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we now get to other business, and one matter that we do want to take on, as you know, the executive session that was noticed was to talk about particularly the contract, a new contract for the superintendent. And I am happy to report that we have been able to reach agreement for a new contract, a new 3-year contract for and with the superintendent. This has been a process to make sure that while the superintendent is focused on running the district and the many sort of complications of just what it's meant to be a leader in the district this year, that we also carved out time to make sure that we were keeping an eye towards the future. And we are finishing the first contract, which expires at the end of June. And so this new contract will kick in as a 3-year contract, July 1st of this year. And so had a good, robust, discussion. Like I said, it's been a long process, and just really glad that we're able to, reach agreement. And I will be asking for a motion to approve the new contract with the provision, just based on our discussion, that, in the vacation language, we just update it to what we've already, previously agreed with the superintendent, going back to August of 2019. So that's the only provision.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Any further discussion? All right. So I'll take a vote. Jess?
Yes.
Noemi?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Julia?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So congratulations, Superintendent. We are, really excited to be able to extend this new contract. We have, it's again, I can't emphasize, just for everyone in our district and for you, I know it's just been such a extraordinary, 14, 15 months. We look forward to continuing the work ahead, working in partnership, with you, with your team, with the district, to really help support, continued improvements for our work, and just really opportunities for our kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
The final item is the minutes, and I think there may be some discussion, but I'll entertain a motion and second, and then let's just, I'll open it up for discussion. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion?
Discussion.
Please, Julia.
Before I bring up the issue with the minutes, I think the superintendent wanted to add something before you started with the minutes.
I'm sorry.
Just bringing that up.
Sorry.
The chair is all business today.
I'm sorry.
I noticed, right?
I got a kid here. I'm trying to get to bed in a few minutes. I'm sorry. I'm to be transparent. Yeah.
Also,
sorry,
for the record,
no.
Also for the record, that your kid should get ice cream too.
I know. Don't tell him that. But I'm sorry. Please, thank you, Julia, for naming that. So, Superintendent, let's turn it to you first. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Julia, for noting. I just wanted to thank you all for your continued support. I'm very excited about being part of this team, working with you all, with the goals that we have designed and the priorities that our team, our central office team, our leadership team, principals, and you all have co-designed. I think that the next, 12 months will also be challenging for us. I'm looking forward to meeting that challenge with you all. And this signals your strong commitment to all of the things that we have been talking about during this pandemic. So I appreciate the support.
Thank you, Superintendent. And my apologies. What a bonehead move, right? I should have turned to you right away and said, dang.
All right.
All right. Anyway, you live and learn. I'm sorry. Okay, I think there was a motion and it's been seconded, and now discussion on the minutes. I'll turn to Julia.
Yes, on the minutes, I have a couple of items that I'm not in agreement with. One of them is the, where am I here? I'm looking at my minutes in my other computer, so I'm like all over the place. There was a discussion on the, let me see if I can move this around. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Something that Dan brought up at the last meeting in March about the compensation, additional compensation for teachers or I'm sorry, I got caught up with the other stuff and I kind of lost my space here. Give me 1 minute, please. It's on in-person return. It's like the second paragraph that says Dan brought up, suggested that the teachers be provided additional compensation for their extra work during COVID. And it lists me as disagreeing with that. And I don't think I disagreed. I think I actually agreed with Dan with that, but I don't recall. So if anybody has a recollection of that, please set me straight. But I don't think
that's how I recall it. That's how I recall it.
You know what I suggest, Julia, just because I don't want to base it on, man, we have video, right?
Right, that's what I had asked Joan to take a look at the video and let us know.
Unless that's happened, I would say let's take the time, make sure the record is accurately reflecting, you know, your comments and things, and then I'm happy to bring this back at our next meeting, and we'll
so maybe we can postpone voting on the minutes.
I think that's what I would suggest, just because I want to make sure the record is accurate for you and everyone else. So. And
then one of the last notes here that I actually made the motion to not the school choice. There was another motion to accept a donation. I made the recommendation to accept the donation, but then I'm listed as voting no. So I think that's it.
Why are you changing your mind so much, Julia?
I don't know. But I just kind of thought that those two items were kind of important. So I had emailed Joan and asked her to take a look at the video and kind of correct that if I'm correct for the next meeting. So if you don't mind, I would like to suggest that we postpone the voting on approving the minutes.
I make a motion to table the minutes vote till the next meeting.
Second.
Well, and I guess the person who seconded it maybe can withdraw their second, and that'll effectively help.
Oh, that was Jess.
Pretty sneaky.
So, Jess, are you withdrawing the second?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
I will withdraw it.
Thank you, Jess.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And again, just want to.
Chair, before you, I know you're dying to adjourn this meeting, and I'm fine with it. But I just want to acknowledge the fact that we've received all of the letters from the people that are concerned, the teachers and staff that are concerned about going back and some of the changes and the vote that they took, and that we are not taking that lightly. And the reason we're not bringing it up is because we feel confident that between their union and the superintendent, they will come to an agreement that will be favorable for everybody. So I just want to acknowledge that we are aware of the situation, and we have received all of their correspondence. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Any other comments? Let's open it up. I mean, I'm fine. You know what? This kid, I'm sorry if that's the energy I'm bringing. I know we started at 5:30, and I also respect everyone's hard work and time. But seriously, if you got,
I do just have one more thing. I just wanted to say to the LPS staff who are still here, who are working on the summer stuff. I didn't see the Essex Art Center on your list, which might not mean that you're not working with them, but you also just might want to reach out to them because they have great facilities, and I think they've worked with LPS in the past or with some of the charter schools too, and I think they'd be a great partner to get some other enrichment stuff in. I am saying that without asking them, and I'm not even a board member of theirs any longer, so they might tell you no, but I think that they're an awesome organization as well that could be a part of that stuff.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will definitely make sure that they are. And as I mentioned, there were so many partners that have come out and just want to support. So they may not have made it into the presentation, but thank you for that. I'll make sure that they are.
Chris, just a sideline, they received a grant from the Lawrence Cultural Council to work with Lawrence Public School children. So I would definitely tap into the Essex Art Center.
Thank you, Pat. Okay.
I'm just keeping quiet now, so. All right, well, look, if you're done, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, but only if you're ready. Like, I'm not trying to like adjourn us or anything.
I'm gonna make a motion for ice cream for everybody.
Okay. So I
Second
think
that
I heard-
motion.
Okay, I have a motion on the to adjourn. Is there a second?
Yes.
All right, Jess,
Yes.
Noemi,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Julia,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So we are now adjourned. Thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everyone.